Welcome back. Today, we're getting into the very first step of every single cyber attack out there, and you might be surprised to learn that it doesn't start with some crazy complex code. Nope, it starts with something much, much simpler, just listening.
All right, here's our roadmap. First, we'll figure out what reconnaissance even is. Then, we'll look at the two main ways attackers gather info, the quiet way and the loud way. After that, we'll dive into scanning, finding weaknesses, and most importantly, your three-point plan to defend yourself. Then, we'll tee up what comes next.
Okay, let's get right to it. The first step, and honestly the most important one, is reconnaissance. You have to understand this because everything, and I mean everything, an attacker does is built on this foundation.
So really, how does it all start? It's not like the movies, right? No frantic typing or crazy graphics. It's actually way more patient. It starts with an attacker just quietly gathering information, learning absolutely everything they can about their target before they make a single move.
And that whole process, that's what we call reconnaissance. The best analogy is a classic bank heist. A smart burglar doesn't just show up and kick the door in. Of course not. They sit in a car across the street for weeks. They learn when the guards change shifts, where the cameras can't see, and which window in the back has a faulty lock. In cybersecurity, it's the exact same idea. It's all about the homework.
And if you look at the life cycle of any attack, you'll see reconnaissance is always step one. It's the foundation for everything that follows. Without good recon, the rest of the attack is just guessing. And believe me, the pros don't guess.
Now, right at the beginning, an attacker has a choice to make. It's a big one. Are they going to be a quiet spy, collecting secrets from a distance so nobody knows they're even there? Or are they going to be a scout who walks right up to the building and starts jiggling the doorknobs?
And this is the trade-off, see? On one hand, you have passive reconnaissance. That's the quiet method. You're watching from across the street, totally invisible. The target has zero idea you exist. On the other hand, you have active reconnaissance. That's the loud method. You get way better info by rattling those doorknobs for sure. But you're also making a ton of noise that a good security system will pick up. It's always a balance between stealth and information.
And it is truly amazing what you can find out passively, just by reading public information. Attackers will dig through LinkedIn to see who works in the IT department. They'll check data dumps for leaked employee passwords. And my personal favorite? They read job ads.
This right here, this is a gold mine. An attacker sees this and their eyes light up. Let's break it down. Linux servers, bam, I know your operating system. Cisco routers, boom, I know the exact make and model of your network gear. AWS cloud infrastructure, got it, now I know where your data lives. This company just handed over the architectural blueprints to their entire network just because they were trying to hire somebody. And they did it without ever triggering a single alarm.
Okay, so that was the quiet, passive approach. But what happens when the attacker decides to get a little louder? That's when we get into scanning. This is where they stop watching from across the street and start walking up to the building to knock on all the digital doors.
So what are these digital doors? In the tech world, we call them ports. Here's an easy way to think about it. A computer's IP address is like its street address. The ports are the specific, numbered doors in that building. So, door number 80 is the main entrance for the website. Door number 25 is where the mail gets delivered. An attacker's goal is to walk down the hall and check every single door to find out which ones are open. Now, there are different ways to knock. The first is called a TCP connect scan. I call this the polite knock. You knock, wait for an answer, and have a full conversation. It's very reliable, but it's also incredibly loud. Any alarm system will spot you immediately. But then there's the sneaky way, the SYN scan. This is literally a game of digital ding-dong-ditch. You ring the doorbell, and the second you hear someone inside moving, you run. You never complete the conversation, which makes it much, much harder to spot.
So you can see it's a spectrum, right? The attacker chooses their tool based on how much noise they're willing to make. The loud and proud TCP scan is at the top, the sneaky SYN scan is in the middle, and way down at the bottom you have things like UDP scans, which are even quieter. They're checking for different kinds of services, and a lot of security systems just aren't paying as close attention.
So let's look at the absolute most basic form of active recon. It's a little command called ping. When you ping an IP address, you're basically just shouting across a field, "Hey, you over there?" If you get a reply from back, that means the machine heard you and shouted, "Yep, I'm here." It's step number one. Is the target even turned on?
And you can actually look at the open doors on your own computer. If you pop open a command prompt and type netstat-an, you'll see a whole list of ports. If you see the word listening next to one, Well, that's exactly what it sounds like. That door is open, and it's waiting for a visitor. It's a fantastic way to see what your own machine is exposing to the world.
Okay, so let's take stock. The attacker has their map, they've figured out which doors are unlocked. What now? Now the real search begins. They're not just looking for open doors anymore, they're looking for the cracks in the walls.
And this is a super important point. An open door isn't always a problem. The front door of a shop is supposed to be open, right? The danger isn't the open door. It's the old, rusty lock that anyone can pick. And that's what attackers are hunting for. Things like ancient software that everyone knows is vulnerable, or systems where nobody ever bothered to change the password from admin or password 123. You'd be surprised how often that happens. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds like a lot of manual work. And you'd be right, it used to be. But this is where AI has changed everything. Modern tools can scan and analyze over 10,000 servers for these exact weaknesses automatically, at speeds a human couldn't even dream of.
AI has basically put this entire process on steroids. It's turned the slow, careful job of reconnaissance into a high-speed automated weapon. The scale and speed are just staggering, and that's why defense has become more critical now than ever before.
All right, enough doom and gloom about how easy it is for attackers. Let's flip the script. How do we fight back? How do we build our defenses? I'm going to give you a rapid 3-point emergency checklist. Here we go. Step 1, the easy one, firewalls. A firewall is like a big, tough security guard at the main gate. It stops the scanners before they even get close. Step 2, this is medium difficulty, network segmentation. This is like putting strong locks on all the internal doors of your building. Even if someone gets past the front desk, they can't just wander wherever they want. And Step 3, the hard one, monitoring for scans. This is your security camera system, your IDS. It watches for suspicious behavior, like someone jiggling every single doorknob, and it sounds the alarm.
But we have to remember something. Everything we've discussed so far, the listening, the scanning, the planning, it's all just the setup. This is the attacker doing their homework before the test. It's all preparation for the main event.
Let's put it as simply as possible. Reconnaissance is finding that one window that was left unlocked. Exploitation, well, that's the act of actually climbing through it. We're moving from finding the weakness to actively using it to break in.
So now you know the playbook. You can spot the signs of an attacker doing their homework. The question is, are you ready to see what happens when the homework is turned in and the attack actually begins? Join us next time because we are going to dive deep into system vulnerabilities and exploitation. You don't want to miss it.